I'd like to share a story about a 9-year-old girl and the power of music and creativity in being a transformational outlet for young people suffering trauma. It was 6 p.m. and it was a school night. She always knew how the night would pan out. If her dad was home not long after she got back from school, he'd be sober and all would be okay. But the later things got, the worse things would get. Her mum was always the first point of call when it came to her dad's abuse. And from abuse, I mean from verbally putting her down and calling her the most horrible names, to waking up in the early hours to police and blood everywhere, broken plates against her neck, and her earliest memory of her dad throwing her mum down the stairs. It was endless. But if her mum wasn't home, she would be the next call. That day, he came home late. She anxiously made him a cup of coffee and some toast to butter him up, always by overcompensating by being as nice as she could. "I don't want an effing cup of coffee," he screamed, slamming it on the side and spilling it everywhere. She said sorry and ran up the stairs. He followed her. And before she knew it, she locked herself in the bathroom to get away from him. He started screaming from the other side of the door, telling her that she was nothing and that she wasn't ever going to be anything special. Crying her eyes out, begging him to stop, sitting on the other side of the bathroom door, repeating over and over and over, "You're nothing. You think you're something special, do you?" Those words, drumming in her worthlessness. She had nothing and nowhere to do with this information that she believed at the time was true, that she really was nothing, and that she was never going to be anything special. She had no outlet, and later believed that moments like this wired her brain, witnessing so much violence at such an early age and having her subconscious mind programmed by her dad to believe this nonsense about herself. That 9-year-old girl was me. I grew up on a council estate in South London with 2 younger siblings. My mum was so resilient. Even with a scarred heart and black eye, she still made sure we had our basic needs met. Sometimes working 2 jobs, travelling from one side of London to the other to get us to our childminder so she can get to work. And she'd do this every day. Hats off to you super mums. But no matter how hard my mum worked, and no matter how much she did to give us all that we needed, as a 9-year-old, I started to think there was something seriously wrong with me. I started to become violent and extremely aggressive. Yet at home, nothing. I realised what was going on at home was not normal behaviour, and I kind of felt angry and helpless. I suffered with severe anxiety, so I self-harmed to ease my pain using drugs, alcohol, and putting myself in very dangerous situations. This was an occurrence on and off from age 9 to 21, and as you can imagine, I wasn't really feeling being at home. It didn't feel like a safe place, and after all, I could do nothing to change it. As I grew up into my teens, I was feeling pretty lost, looking for something, someone, somewhere, anything to help me to feel better. And as a result, I was picked up by this group in South London. At first, it was fun. I genuinely thought they cared about me. Like it was this brand new world for me. Money wasn't an issue, drugs and alcohol in abundance, and they taught me how to make quick money. And amongst other things, I became a getaway driver. I had some friends around me at the time who tried to keep me safe and warn me, but I just wasn't listening, and it just seemed really easy at the time. I started to use the same escapism as my dad, the drugs, the drink, the crime, and as well as the police coming to my house for domestic violence, now raids after me being arrested a number of times. I guess I was kind of in rebellion, you know, and couldn't really express my emotions or feelings of what was going on at home. So fast forward, there I was, in court, looking at a 4-year prison sentence. An older friend of mine, a mentor, said he'd vouch for me and take me under his wing and rehabilitate me. And as a result, I was given 300 hours of community service and put on probation for 1 year. This truly was a wake-up call for me, and had I not had someone in my life at that time, I doubt very, very much I'll be standing here today sharing my story. So in the absence of emotional safety and mentors at home, I found that through music. So let's rewind back a little bit. When I was 11 years old, my dad, who was also a musician, taught me how to write songs. It was ironic, like, He gave me the medicine to the poison, so to speak. I started listening to US rappers, and I even rapped on this TV show once for my class at school. By the time I was 15, I started going out to underground parties, where I fell in love with jungle music. This community of like-minded humans all dancing to the same bass line, smiley, happy faces everywhere, where everyone left their troubles and their worries at the door. It didn't matter who you were or what you do. And people of all ages, colours and cultures all united on that dance floor, an absolute haven of unadulterated self-expression. Week in and week out, I would watch these big guys on the mic, and I remember once looking up and going, yeah, I can do that. I mean, it might have been the drugs enhancing my confidence, to be fair, but I used to come home every week and I used to write songs, loads of them. They were just pouring out of me. And then one day, I asked my good friend, soon-to-be mentor, who's also an MC, if he would chat my lyrics for me. And he just said to me, nah, you do it. I was absolutely terrified and excited all at the same time. There I was, this 4-foot-something little girl, I swear I looked about 12 at the time, being given this microphone on a stage in front of hundreds of people, sounding like a drowned-out mouse. My voice was so high-pitched. The crowd was so nice, all things considered, I've got to say. But that club, Club Labyrinth, became my home, and the place where I was heard and celebrated. I found a gift to fill that gap. It was a paradox, like, on one side of the coin, I was nothing. But on that mic, it all disappeared. And music helped me to channel that and to help me get my voice heard. I started to see myself in a new light. It made me so happy. Slowly, every time I performed, it healed me. And I started to realise all the things my dad said to me were not true, that I am something, that I have got a talent and I can share it. I later went on to perform at shows across the UK and Europe. I won an award, and through my creative outlet, I started to make something of my life, something that I was programmed to believe was not possible for me. I realise now I blocked so much out, but I do often feel like it was the driving force behind me to become so focused, motivated, ambitious, and most importantly, empathetic. Yet, alongside that, I was still involved in this group. It's kind of living a double life. Week in and week out, I was on stages, yet still trapped in this situation. By the time I was 20, I was so focused on my music and I wanted to go further afield. So I wanted to take myself to the Winter Music Conference in Miami. My mum was absolutely terrified, as you can imagine, of me going to America on my own. But with absolute conviction and her blessing, I packed my suitcase full of demo CDs and off I went. This was a key turning point in my life. When I got to Miami, I did what I always did at that age, which is hustle as many mics as I could and try and get on as many stages as I could. And as a result, I met a crew of US artists who saw my talent and wanted to create a space for me to get better at my craft. So I was invited to go and live in this creative space in New York. I knew I needed a fresh start, like a haven away from everything, and just so I could focus on my music. So I went. I stayed there for just over a year, and throughout my time there, as well as making friends for life, working with pioneering artists, touring the East Coast of America and learning about some of the roots of hip-hop and rap, I also started to heal and slowly started to repair myself little by little. And most importantly, I started to build an authentic sense of self-belief. Music truly was the gateway for me to transform my life. And I started questioning, like, what was the bigger meaning to all of this? As I started to get older and started to become more self-aware and more aware of the beliefs that I thought were holding me back, I was presented with a number of opportunities to work with young people, the same way that music helped me. I later then went on to set up my own charity, the Young Urban Arts Foundation. And it wasn't something I thought so deeply about. It was something more like a calling, like something so mystic and really hard to put into words. But one of the things that we're best known for is 7 years ago, I bought a single-decker bus. The bus is converted into a multimedia studio, and we take that bus into hard-to-reach areas, working with young people where there's little or nothing for them to do, teaching them the arts of music production, DJing, lyrical writing, songwriting, anything they want to do, really. But essentially, we're there to help build their confidence and their skills. And more importantly, to give them a safe space, to give them a creative outlet, to give them access to positive role models and mentors just like I did, and to help us to build relationships with them so we can understand what challenges they're facing, what their aspirations are, and how we can help them further. The more I got into community work, the more I started to realise and understand the underlying causes. A defining aha moment for me was when I realised that I was traumatised just like the young people that we help. And unresolved trauma is one of the underlying causes of ill mental health. The light came on. Like maybe, just maybe, my dad was traumatised. But back then, you know, mental health was hardly spoken of, so undiagnosed, maybe he just thought there was something wrong with him and used the alcohol and the drugs to cope. Just like I did. And just like the young people that we work with do. The root of some issues that all young people face, including serious violence, is a lack of support in mental health. And sadly, my dad lost his battle to mental health and took his life a few years ago. But that propelled me even further to focus my charity's mission on transforming the lives of young people by strengthening their mental health through music and the arts. It all started to make sense. Like, all these so-called bad experiences were absolutely perfect creations in order for me to do what I do today and to be able to stand here on this stage and share my story with you. Amazing. Everything is here to help us, and life is always working for us. And everything is here to help us to help others. And I'm really proud to say that as a result, my charity has touched the lives of nearly 18,000 young people in the past decade. The more we worked with young people, especially in areas of levels of high deprivation, the more I started to understand the connection and the impact of unresolved trauma on mental health. There's a number of persistent misconceptions around youth and gang violence, often fueled by the media. Debates around the potential impact on drill music and youth violence is a popular distraction away from actually understanding and tackling the real root causes. Drill music, like all genres of music, is another outlet, based around most art forms, which is storytelling and a reflection of that life that person's living in. There's more to drill than gangs, drugs, and violence. If you listen to their stories, truly listen, you will hear them sharing and disclosing feelings of being trapped, on the defence, and not being listened to, seeping into the deeper socioeconomic issues around struggling mentally and disadvantage. For me, what I went through was traumatic. But after working with young people for the past 10 years, I realised it wasn't that bad. And I'm sure that everyone in this audience and everyone watching at home has experienced trauma on some level. The question is, what did it leave you with? And what did you believe about yourself as a result of that experience? And most importantly, did you have an outlet to express it? Some of the young people that we work with, or who some of you may judge for being in a gang or looking like a thug or just being poor, they have their own stories, which is still yet to be told. So I'd like to close with the art form that changed my life. Imagine if we changed our perception of what society creates as wrong or right. Instead, discovering through the eyes of new possibility that a person's life circumstance is constructed perfectly and here to have an influence. Look at me. Can we change our internal conversations, igniting new possibilities, and transform our judgments to one of encouragement to empower our communities? Can we be those mentors, and can we hold space for young people to express and have an outlet? And can we be the ripple effect of impacting the next generation's mindsets? Peeling back the layers of our own journeys and asking, what life have I been living as a result of my program stories? Asking empowering questions like, how has this helped me to navigate through life's negotiations? And without a shadow of a doubt, with no exceptions, these situations are powerful creations. Connecting to the lessons as we evolve and we transit. And I'll leave you with this. Who will you now become if your old stories no longer exist? Thank you.